Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to another weekly and slash daily outlook, and we'll take a look at gold and GBP JPY. So first of all, let's take a little look at gold, and we'll start just by having a little look on the monthly, and we'll do a big breakdown from the monthly time frame. So looking at the monthly first of all, and we'll just kind of zoom in and get a slightly bigger picture here. So first things first with gold, for me, I'm kind of thinking we're in the neck of the woods of still looking slightly bullish at the moment, anywhere around this sort of 1930 area. Now, the reason I'm thinking that, if we have a look on the monthly candles that we've got here, first of all, we've had a bullish move. We've had a little bit of a pullback. So like if this was a smaller time frame, what we would end up doing is we would kind of draw where our support's been formed, and then going back into July, we had this bullish engulfing candle here. August, we've had a little bit of a pullback, but what you'll also notice with August is we had a rather big rejection there. So notice we had a little bit of rejection at the bottom here, a little rejection, and then quite a major rejection with August candle. Now, obviously being September, we're at a brand new month, and a brand new quarter as well. So quite an important time in terms of movement in the market. So for me, what I'm probably expecting the new monthly candle to do would be something along the lines of the following. I'm thinking that what we're probably going to imagine seeing here is we'll get this candle to come down, and we may get a little rejection anywhere sort of around the 1930, 1927, something like that possibly, and then we'll see that monthly candle go bullish, and then we could potentially see that push up towards maybe the 1960, something like that. That would be a potential sort of play that we'd expect to see, and then who knows, from that point we then might start to see a little continuation up like that. Just depends on what news events and things like that take place after there. So that's what I would probably start to anticipate happening over the sort of like monthly view. Now, what we'll do is we'll try and kind of break that down just a little bit further for you, and just have a little look what that might shape up like as well. So if we have a little look on the weekly, you can see that obviously first of all the weekly's kind of closed underneath this sort of like 1920, 1910 key area. We actually closed below the huge key area of the 1900s as well, for the following week to come straight back up and close roughly around the sort of like 1910 area. And then last week you can see that we've closed bullish again, and we've been driving right up towards that sort of 1940 key area. Now, a great sort of like tip for you, if you like, would be to try and mark those key price points. You've got to remember that every $5 value in gold is a key area. Every $10 value is a major key area. That's the way to try and think about it. So if we marked off 1940 as a major key area there, I would then mark off where 1945 would be, but I'd also be looking at 1950. And then just if we then kind of drill down into the different time frames, you see, if I go at the 4 hour, look at where 1950 is there, where those 4 hour candles closed, and that's before I've even adjusted them at all to make them sort of perfect. It's not by chance that that's the case. Those are just major psychological areas. Look at how those candles respect that key level there. So what I'm kind of looking at this point, I just said to you at the start of this video that if we're kind of taking, say, anywhere around sort of like 1930, 1935 as being bullish above there, well, what we could probably anticipate at that point then would be once again to see a candle maybe for the sort of like next couple of 4 hour ones to form something like this. Let's just see if we can grab the little tool here. So the next candle we may see sort of like over Asian session come down, excuse the colors, and then we may get the next one just to kind of come and retest down towards this sort of like 1930 level perhaps. We then might get a closure back above, and then another one closing above, and then another one coming back up, and then that might be the one that drives us like that. So that might be what they might start to form like I say, excuse the fact that I've not got red on the bearish candles, whatever. But it just kind of gives you a little sort of like rough idea of what I'm imagining the 4-hour time frame might start to look like. And because if we can then start to see that at that point, that will be when we could then start to see the bigger move up towards that goal of probably somewhere around the 1960, I would anticipate, just up there. So we'll mark that sort of key level off there. Why the 1960? Well, again, if you just come across on the far right, you can see that it's a really well respected area. Look at how many times we've tried to close above there and not being able to continue. It took numerous 4-hour attempts there to be able to close above there. And similarly, when it came back down, it respected that level before driving to then come straight back up again. So that's probably what I would imagine taking place on the sort of like 4-hour time frame. Now, what does that mean for tomorrow? Well, let's just have a little look at tomorrow and just kind of see where we're at with that first of all. So if I drill right down to like a 15-minute time frame here, well, basically, if I just adjust these, so you can see that obviously we had a big push down on Friday with NFP. We've then started to create this sort of, like 50 pip range, something like that. Yeah, so 51 pip range there. And what I'm anticipating at this point is we'll probably see some kind of scenario where we'll probably see a little sort of push down over Asian sessions. So we might see this kind of come back down here, retest. We might see a little bit of play around this area to then finally see if we can get a move up towards there during sort of like London time. And then as we go towards like pre-New York and so on, we might see a little drive on. Now, what's important to note is that might not take place until Tuesday. The reason being that tomorrow in North America, so we've got the US and Canada, they've got Labor Day, so it's bank holiday. So we might see slightly reduced volume for tomorrow. So we'll just see how that goes in terms of what we anticipate taking place there. So that's my kind of main scenario for gold and what I can see happening. Now, is it possible that we aren't bullish and we could come underneath? Well, of course. Obviously, we know there's always lots of possibilities. And I think, like I said a little bit earlier, for me, sells probably the slightly safer sells, if you like, would be around below the 1930 area. So we've just marked off the 1930, just kind of show you that key area to the left. We'll go on the 4-hour time frame first of all. Just let you see what that would shape up like. So there's the 1930 level there. Okay, you can see it's well respected in terms of support and resistance and so on across here. So for me, I think if we could get some sells underneath there, we can certainly be, in the first instance, be targeting roughly about 100 pips, something in that neck of the woods. And that would be my sort of like scenario with that. But obviously what we'd be looking for is a little breakdown there. Now be careful around those key areas. Got a nice little tip for you here. What you can actually see take place there is you can get a little break of there to maybe the 1927 to then see it pull back up. You've got to be careful of sort of like 30 pips in either direction. Okay, that's just the way gold moves. Sort of 20 to 30 pips around key levels you have to be a little bit wary of. But if you get a closure below there, a little retest of that key level with a nice pullback, and then look for the drive and continuation after that. Okay, so that's my sort of like main scenario over the next few days and into this coming week for the week commencing the 3rd/4th of September on gold. Now, if we take a little look at GJ, I'll keep this one nice and brief for you. With GJ, again, you can see that looking on the 4-hour time frame, we've clearly got some support around this sort of 183 area. Now, for me, what I will mark on there as well, I'll just mark on the 183 flat. Again, all based on the idea of just key levels, key psychological levels where price is often respected, okay? So we'll mark on the 183 area. Now, for me, I think if we can stick above that 183 area, we could still see some potential pullbacks coming back down towards this level. We might see a little bit of consolidation there. To then see a little continued drive above there. But if we're above 183, I'll probably be looking for more continued buys, just based on sort of like the higher time frame. So if we just kind of see what that looks like on the 4-hour there, you can see that overall we are still bullish. If we get a little break below that 183, I may look for some sells at that point. And then again, I'll just be targeting the key levels and seeing what price is telling me. So below 183, first instance, you'd be looking at 182.50, then down towards the 182 area, and you can see how well respected that 182 area has been in the past. So that's always a good higher time frame area to try and target with the potential of, you know, give or take 100 pips or so. All right, so that would be my area for sells below there. But feeling that, like I say, if we can come down here, form a little bit of support, and then get a little engulfing candle, I would look for some continued buys back up there, certainly aiming for maybe 50 pips or so in the first instance. All right. Overall, what are we looking at on GJ though? Let's just have a quick look from the top down, and I'll just clear those different things for us so we can have a little cleaner look. So you can see that overall we have been significantly bullish. We had a big rejection going back to June. We continued bullish in July and August, and you can see that September has just started having this little pullback at the very beginning of last week. What would be quite nice to see at this point here then would be something along the lines of this. So we get the little pullback just down to here. We might get like the little wick rejection just to there, and then we would start to see this candle flip. And if we break the highs of that previous candle, we would then start to see a slightly bigger drive. So we'd probably see like a monthly candle that might start to look something like that. That would be pretty nice to see. Why would I be targeting that particular area? Well, of course, it's not rocket science. We just look along there and we'd say, right, that's going to be the key level that we're looking at. Okay, so somewhere around that area there. All right, and again, where would that be? Where would I be particularly targeting a key level? Let's look at, like, you know, at the moment I'm looking at 188.91, so let's call that 189. Okay, so we'll look for like the 189 area and so on, or wherever that may be. That I'm just kind of giving you like a rough idea. Okay, so if we've got buys on the monthly, that's what that would start to shape up like. Obviously, you're not checking the monthly candle every single day. You've got a rough idea of what it's looking like. It's, you know, there's a lot of information in a monthly candle, but it's actually hard to pull that information out. So you're looking at the smaller time frames. So again, the weekly, so you can see we've just started like having a little pullback on the weekly. Is there potential that we might have a continued further pullback and then form a little bit of support around this area? Yeah, that's entirely possible. Why would that be possible? Well, let's look where that potential area could be. Right around that 182.50 area, that would be possible. Okay, could we see a little bit of support form around there, which would start to shape up like this, just to give you a little visualization. So we get a little bit of support forming around here. Fantastic. To then see the next candle after that point look something like that. Wonderful. And if we get that idea of support formed along there with a slightly bullish engulfing candle, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Why? Because that's when we can start to target a break of those previous highs with a little rejection to the downside. That's what we would love to see on that weekly time frame. Okay, and that goes on every time frame. If you, that for me is an A+ setup. If you see that coming on a 15-minute or a 30-minute, beautiful, go with that, and that will pay you 90, 95, 96 times out of 100, no doubt. Okay. So there we go. That's kind of what I'm sort of anticipating overall there. Try clearing those drawings for you. And yeah, 4 hour wise and so on, same sort of like scenario going on there. But that looks pretty good on GJ. That's what I'm going to be looking for over the next couple of days. All right. News wise, not a great deal happening this week. Actually, not very much happening at all. Like I say, it's bank holiday in the US and Canada tomorrow. We've got a little bit of news coming up later in the week, but nothing huge. I think there's a lot more news coming the week commencing the 10th of September, which we'll take a little look at next Sunday on that weekly outlook. But that's what I'm going to be looking for over the next couple of days. Hopefully some of that pans out for us and we can take some great trades and get off to a winning start with September. Best of luck to you all, and as ever, if there's any questions, feel free to let me know. If you're not currently in our group, come and join our group and come and join the chat group as well. It's a great free community with loads of value in there for you as well. Okay, all the best for this week and we will see you soon.